All right, this will be recorded so that, for the benefit of those who are not able to make it here today. But I want to encourage you. There's something about being live and being present when meeting like this is going on. Why? Because you can ask questions in real time. If you're watching the recording, you might not necessarily catch the full gamut of what the discussion is all about. All right, I was a little bit tempted to say I'm not going to put out the recording because I felt maybe because people were because they knew they're going to have the recordings. Maybe that's why they're not going to show up. But I wouldn't do that. Whatever we are doing is for your benefit. So we'll go ahead. We'll have the meeting, have the recording. But I want to encourage you. Go ahead and encourage others also to be a part of this. All right. So that they can ask questions real time, and whatever issues they have can also end up getting resolved. All right. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn this over to facilitator Dr. Ajayi, the same person who led the session last week. He's a postdoctoral researcher at University of Cincinnati. He's a very good friend and brother of mine. And like I said, I don't know how many of you have joined his X platform, and I've gone through some of the materials on there. I want to encourage you to do that, please, if you have not done that. All right. So without wasting any much of our time, because we also want to respect everyone's time, I'll turn things over to Dr. Shewun Ajayi. Over to you, sir.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Morning, everybody. Please, can you allow me share my screen?
I have done that now. Thank you.
Works. All right. So this is an aspect I like talking about so much. Understanding scholarships, types, eligibility, and where to find them. For the eligibility part, I'm gonna try as much as possible to be practical with some of the scholarships that I'm gonna be, sharing with us. But I will prefer to do a live demonstration, and that's why I felt a bit. I won't say feel I felt a bit bad, but I would have enjoyed, if we had a lot of participants join online right now. I mean, in terms of how, we are live currently instead of waiting for the recording. But nevertheless, whatever we do, they should be able to still catch it, when they watch the recording. All right. So when you hear the word scholarship, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? And you're free to just type in the chat box. If you hear the word scholarship, if someone says the word scholarship, what comes to your mind? 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 I would appreciate if we can just drop our comments in the chat box. Okay. Nobody yet. What comes to your mind when you hear the word scholarship? All right. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Dwebo, for giving me a hint about why people are not here. All right. Fine. Okay. So nobody's dropping any chats in the box. It's okay. So I'll just go ahead and okay. Thank you. Mukasa said an opportunity to study for free. Yeah, you really captured it. An opportunity to study for free. So you're gonna hear the word learning, fellowship, training, science, aid, grant, prize, knowledge, tuition, award, education, study. Those are the kind of words that are associated with scholarship. All right, so let me just go ahead. So what do you need to win a scholarship? What do you need to win a scholarship? You need a desire and passion. Now, I remember last week when Dr. Udwebo was talking to us about the need for us to, make up our mind. You have to do the job. You have to desire it. It's not going to just fall on your laps. Scholarships, I don't think I've ever heard anybody win scholarship by accident. When I mean by accident is that they didn't apply, they didn't desire it, they were just choosing. It doesn't work that way. The only accidental way of winning a scholarship is if you apply to a scholarship that you think you cannot win and you get it. That is the only way it could be accidental. But I've never heard anybody win a scholarship accidentally in the context that I just explained. So you must desire it, you must be passionate about it. And the reason why this point is important is because a lot of times, as you make attempts, you're gonna, meet some crossroads. You're gonna meet some, what's it called? Some blockages, uh, some roadblocks. That was what I was looking for in terms of rejections. So, but if you don't desire it, if it's something that maybe because others are trying to get scholarships, okay, let me also join them, then you can be easily discouraged. So, desire, passion is very important because this journey is very tedious. Scholarship application, it's a full day job. Let me put it that way. It's a full day job. It's not something that you have to be full time about it. Let me use the word full time. What I mean is that I don't actually mean that you should leave every other thing you're doing and be pursuing it. What I mean is that you can't just have an half-hearted approach to, applying for scholarship. You must be intentional about it and you must put your energy into it. You must put your energy into it. So desire and passion, very, very important. The next one is you need a strong scholarship portfolio. This is also very important. You need a strong scholarship portfolio. When we talk about portfolio, we're talking about your academic credentials, your leadership experience, your volunteering experience, everything that makes up your experience academically. It could also be extracurricular activities. These are things that make up a strong scholarship portfolio. And you need access to credible information. I think this is always the missing link for most people. Not because they don't have access to credible information, but they don't know how to access this credible information. So a lot of times we're on our phone, a lot of times we're on the internet, but we don't know where to search. And that's why this particular session is very important for whatever we're going to be doing going forward. So you need access to credible information if you're going to win a scholarship. Then you need to be ready to do the hard work. And like I said earlier, scholarship is hard work. You must be willing to do the hard work. Nobody can do it for you. And a very good approach to this is what we call DIY. Do it yourself. So you can't delegate it. You can't delegate it to anybody. Scholarship application is not something you delegate to anybody. It's something that you must be up and doing about. All right, and you need divine favor. Like I remember, Dr. Udrebo, telling me earlier, before this session started, maybe some weeks ago, about the need for me to also emphasize the place of the gospel, when we're talking about scholarship. So divine favor is very important. The God factor, you can't take it out. When we're talking about scholarship, a lot of times people put in their extra efforts, they do so many of those things, and at the end of the day, they are disappointed because they are just getting rejections. But sometimes, you know, having this divine favor could help you to access the right one, access the right scholarship to apply to. And you don't have to do, multiple applications, even though to be safe, a lot of times we always tell people in order to increase your chances, make multiple applications. But, with the God factor, which is very important, I should even put this one as number one, you know, this will help you, especially when you are discouraged. God is there to strengthen you, to encourage you in order to, continually apply, and keep on making those efforts. So you can take that out of the equation. All right. So how do we categorize scholarship? We can categorize scholarship based on funding, So we have some scholarships that are full. When I mean full, so when you want to look at the scholarship, let me say three things are quite important, or let me say two. Let me limit to two. Two aspects or two funding I don't know how to really say this now. Two funding components, that's the word I'm looking for, are very important when you're looking at scholarship. Tuition and living expenses. So if a scholarship covers your tuition and living expenses, it can be called a full scholarship. And there are also categories of full scholarship. Some scholarship will, in addition to covering your tuition, covering your living expenses, some of them will also cover your airfare. What do I mean by that? They're going to cover your travel from your home country to your study destination. That is always an addition for most full scholarship. In some other contexts, if you're married, some scholarship, in addition to covering your tuition, your living expenses, covering your airfare, they also cover, you know, the cost of, taking care of your family. There are some scholarship like that. But when you talk about partial scholarship, partial scholarship are always maybe limited to tuition. And some of them are also there are categories for full scholarship. There are also categories for partial scholarship. Some, even if they cover your tuition, they might cover maybe 70%. Some might cover 50%. Some might just say, oh, they're going to cover 10,000 out of 30,000. You just need to find the remaining what's it called, tuition fee to balance up. So always consider this when you're looking out for scholarship. So there is full scholarship and partial scholarship. And as a student, you should always go for the full scholarship because it makes life very easy. All right. So then, based on awarding body, there are some scholarships that are sponsored by the government of the country that you're going to. Like the Commonwealth Scholarship is sponsored by the uh, I'm trying to look for the name now. So they call it the ACU, the Association of Commonwealth of Universities, in collaboration with the British government. So there are some other scholarships like that, the Chinese government scholarship, which is sponsored by the Chinese government. So there are scholarships like that, that it is the government of the country that dispenses fund, or that kind of like helps maintain the mechanism through which people get funded, through which people go through the process of applying and integrating into the country of their destination, study destination, and going back home. Then we have university-based scholarships. There are some scholarships that are funded directly by the university. I'm going to talk about some of them later in the presentation. And we also have institutional-based scholarships. So sometimes you have institutions like the World Bank, you have institutions like UNICEF, you have institutions like MasterCard, and also we have institutions like Fulbright. These people, then they're like there's this other one that I would like people to also watch out for. I didn't put it on my slide. It is called the Wellcome Trust. Because this is an organization in the United Kingdom that also sponsors. We have Chevney, and sometimes this institution might be resident in your country, and the fund, for example, for people in my own home country, Nigeria, we have organizations like PTDF that sponsors people, for overseas scholarship. So, for example, so you might also want to look inward, maybe in your own country, Uganda, to see some of these private institutions that might also be funding scholarship overseas. These are also opportunities that you can leverage. So there's the Bill Gates scholarship as well, so that sponsors programs in public health, AI, and so many other things like that. So watch out for some of these scholarships. All right, so what are the intentional steps to take, if you want to apply for a scholarship? The first thing is you want to define the scholarship you want to apply. You must define the scholarship. What kind of scholarship is this? How do I go about the application? So you want to ask yourself, where is this scholarship domicile or domiciled or located? How much? How much is the funding? Like I mentioned, you want to look at the funding components. How much are they going to fund? Like, in the prompt that Dr. Dwebo gave for this particular section, one of the things he said is that some scholarships are, they are unequal. So what it means that, for example, the Commonwealth scholarship, in terms of how much they're going to pay students or whoever succeeds in winning this scholarship, is not the same for maybe Chevney scholarship. For example, what you're going to gain by, winning the Chinese government scholarship is not the same if you won the Korea government scholarship. So the funding amounts across different scholarships are different. But however, the catch here is that you should not be obsessed with that. The most important thing is that whatever the scholarship is going to give you, they always try to think about the standard of living or the cost of living of wherever you're going to before they decide on how much you're going to get. For example, the Commonwealth Scholarship has different funding rates if you get an admission to any institution within London compared to other parts of the United Kingdom. And the reason is not far-fetched. London is very, very expensive compared to other places. So, for example, when I won my master's scholarship to Jamaica, they were paying me $1,000. They were paying me $1,000, and that makes sense because whenever I convert the money, then around that time, $1 was around 125 Jamaican dollars. So whenever I have $1,000, I have like $125,000 with me per month, which is reasonably, which is reasonable, for me to live in Jamaica. I saved a lot of money, when I was coming back to Nigeria, for my scholarship. I saved a lot of money. If I mean a lot of money. I might not be able to, I might not be open about the amount I saved, but I actually saved a lot of money because that money was a lot. And what they do was to kind of like look at the standard of living of where I was going to, and $1,000 was fair amount of money. But if you're going to other places, they might also consider that and use that to design the funding mechanism. Yeah. So again, where is the place? How much? Like I mentioned, the funding rate and the level of education. Some scholarships are for master's program, some scholarships are for PhD program. So watch out, and be conversant with them. Also, importantly, when you even talk about level of education, some scholarships are for master's taught programs, while some are for masters in research. So always know the differences between these kind of scholarships. Then you want to check your eligibility for such scholarship. Not all scholarships are for you. So for example, there are some scholarships that are only meant for those, who are trying to flee war zones. So for example, if there are civil war going on right now in some countries and it has been lingering for so long, there are some scholarships that, institutions, maybe in the United States or United Kingdom, designed for people in those places just to get them out of those areas. And so for you who are not in a war-torn zones, you might not be eligible for those kind of scholarships. So watch out. Some scholarships are gender-based. It's only for women. So, and there are some scholarships that are also based on a particular program. I saw one that is only about people who are interested in peacekeeping. So always check the scholarship. What kind of program do they fund? What kind of people do they fund? Some scholarships will not fund you if you're already resident in the country that the scholarship is going to be useful. So always check those kind of eligibility requirements. I'm going to talk about some of them in the next couple of minutes. Academic requirements are there. Some are heavy on CGPA. Some of them are heavy on your work experience. Then always ascertain the scholarship deadline. So one of the things you should do as someone who is interested in scholarship right now is to have a book. You should call it a scholarship diary. And you're going to highlight all the scholarships that you are interested in, have their names there, write their requirements, and write out their deadlines. That's going to help you to be able to track, and if possible, also have it on your maybe computer calendar and just have it there so that you can work, with this deadline in mind. Some scholarships, their deadline are so short that if you don't prepare maybe 6 months, 1 year ahead of time, you're going to miss that window. That means you have to wait another cycle before you apply. So always watch out for those. And the reason is not far-fetched because some of these scholarships require that you reach out to referees to write a recommendation letter for you. So for example, if a scholarship is closing in the next 1 week, it will not be ideal for me to now start reaching out to my referee for them to send me a recommendation letter. That time might be too short for them to come up with a qualitative recommendation letter. So always ascertain the scholarship deadline. Then understand the application process. I actually put this one here because it is important. Sometimes some scholarship might require that you gain admission to the institution that they partner with before you apply for that scholarship. And some might be the other way around. Some might require that you win the scholarship first before you apply for admission. Some might be that you might need to do both at the same time. What it means that as you're applying for the scholarship, you're also applying for admission at the same time. I remember when I was applying for my own scholarship to University of the West Indies in Jamaica, I actually won the scholarship first before I applied for admission to the university. And there are some scholarships like that, like the Japanese next. Uh, Typically, no Japanese professor will even look at your face if you don't have your funding. So most of the time, people will win the Japanese MES scholarship first and use the Japanese MES scholarship letter, as a leverage to get a professor interested in bringing them to Japan. So always check for the application process, understand the application process before you start working on it. Then work on your application or submit your required documents. So start working on your application and submit your required documents. So you might ask me, what are the documents you need? You need your international passport. So if you're here, one of the things you need to do right now is to get your international passport. For example, there are some scholarship like the Commonwealth scholarship that they will require you to input your international passport, as part of, the what's it called, the fields, the application fields, where you are filling the application documents. And based on my experience of applying to UK universities, some of them will asterisk, international passport. They want you to put your international passport right there. Why some might make it optional. So, but it is important that at this point in time, having your international passport means that you are even ready to leave the country at any point in time. So, have your international passport and your academic transcript. The moment you finish your academic degree right there, please make sure you get your academic transcript immediately. So sometimes some places like in the United States of America, they can, at this point where you are applying, they can take unofficial transcript that only have your grades while they wait for you to complete your projects. Yeah, so at that point in time, you can apply to those US universities, get your admission, and when you now have your full transcript, then you send your official documents to them. So at this point in time, if it is possible for you to get your own official transcript, start working on it right now. Then standardized test reports. This depends on the kind of place you are applying to. Some might require that you submit IELTS, some might require that you submit GRE. So watch out for those. Some might require published journal articles just to make your application stronger, maybe because of the competitive pool of that kind of scholarship. So if you don't have a published journal articles for that, it might be difficult for you to win those kind of scholarship. So like I said, this is not compulsory. I actually put it in red because it's not actually compulsory. Not every scholarship required that you should have published a journal before you win. Some might require professional certifications. So look out for those. Then motivation letter or personal statement. This is actually required when you're applying for that scholarship. Then your academic CV, then recommendation letters. All right, so you might ask me, how do you exploit a scholarship? How do you go about looking for scholarship? You can use the Google search strategy. You can search your scholarship using your level of education. You can just type in Google, master scholarship, master scholarships, and it's going to give you a lot of websites, a lot of scholarship resources that you can leverage and check. But these are not safe way of going about it. Then you can also use specific program of interest like MBA scholarship or Master of Public Health scholarships in the United States or something like that. Or you can also use University of Choice. Or if I'm interested in Harvard University, I can search scholarships in Harvard University and I can put my program as well. Or you can use the country or region that you're interested in. You can say something like, oh, scholarships in Europe, scholarships in Asia, scholarships in Oceania or whatever, scholarships in Africa. These are ways of going about them. But these are very low level method of going about of going about exploring scholarships. There are other, scholarship databases that you can use. I'm going to send some of those links to you. All right. So you might be surprised that there's some scholarship opportunities in Africa that you can leverage on. Like I said, that sometimes you can use a particular place as a springboard to your next location. So don't look down on some programs in Africa. Don't look down on some programs in Africa. I remember that when I was trying to apply for master scholarship then, I had some friends that won scholarships to places in Africa that was kind of like a springboard for their next academic journey. So please don't look down on scholarship opportunities in Africa. For example, we have the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program, that serves, the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, AIMS, in Cape Town, South Africa. So this particular scholarship, is for those who are studying mathematics. Then we have one for this MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. They also serve Carnegie Mellon University, Africa, in Rwanda. And if your program is in information technology, electrical and computer engineering, and engineering artificial intelligence, you might want to check it out. The University of Cape Town, you might need to do your search because the specific programs were not specified. So you might want to check that out. So this particular, in those places that I mentioned here, the MasterCard Foundational Scholars Program funds them. The MasterCard Foundational Scholars Program also fund other places. They fund in the United Kingdom. They also fund in Canada, which I'm going to be going into in some minutes. Then one of the things I noticed that for these three particular places, the important requirement they were looking for is a strong undergraduate background. They want to see if you have leadership potential. And how do you show that you have leadership potential? By showing your stint of leadership experience. What are your leadership pedigree? And that's why it's important that when you are in college or university, don't just focus on your academics alone. Be involved in other things. Be involved in extracurricular activities. Serve, in your departmental association, maybe at college level or whatever. Just make sure that you are not just about your academics. You're also trying to help other people in terms of leadership responsibility. So watch out for that. Then your commitment to your own country. So most of this scholarship requires that you write a prompt that shows that whatever you're going to gain, whatever skills or expertise that you're going to gain, you're going to be using them when you go back to your own country. So these are the kind of things you must watch out for. So also still in Africa, AIMS on its own, remember the AIMS I mentioned earlier is funded by MasterCard in Cape Town. But this particular institution in Cameroon, African Institute of Mathematical Sciences in Cameroon, funds this program. The only way they can actually admit you is if they have funding for you. So the moment you are admitted, they give you funding at AIMS in Cameroon. So it is for Masters in Mathematical Sciences. Then again, the important requirement here is strong mathematics, leadership, and community service skills. So watch out for this. Then there's this one called the Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Scholarship. These are the particular scholarship I won in 2015. So this is university-specific programs. So they have partner institutions in Mauritius, South Africa, and Ghana. Is it Mauritius or whatever you call it? South Africa and Ghana. And so it is when you now go to the website of QECS that you know the particular program at Mauritius, South Africa, and Ghana that they fund. So, but most of the programs have relevance to any of the sustainable development goals. So if you're applying for this program, you'll be required to write prompts, in relation to sustainable development goals. So watch out for those. The important requirements here is strong undergraduate background, leadership potential, and commitment to your own country as well. All right, so what are the scholarship opportunities in Europe? Commonwealth scholarships, at some point, maybe in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the Commonwealth scholarships and how it works, some of the programs that they fund, and the different mechanism under Commonwealth scholarships. Commonwealth scholarship is divided into about 4 that I know about. They have the normal Commonwealth scholarship for master's program and PhD. So this one, let me explain the mechanism of this one. This one, you apply to any program of your choice. Then you seek nomination either from your university back home or your Ministry of Education. So that is for the Commonwealth scholarship for masters and PhD. So like I explained, that one requires that you are nominated by your university or your Ministry of Education. For those who are going to be nominated by their university, you are going to be eligible to be nominated by university if you actively work in that university. I know people who won the Commonwealth scholarship for PhD by being nominated by their their home country institution where they work. So, but everyone can be nominated by their Ministry of Education. Then again, there's a quota for each country. So for Uganda now, Uganda has a quota. So I don't know. For example, if they have 20 quota, that means they're going to only nominate 20 people. So that means the Ministry of Education back home in your own country in Uganda, we have specific, scholarship criteria that they look for, or let me say, screening criteria. That was what I was looking for, that they're going to use to gauge as many students that they're going to gauge. And that's going to be whatever they're going to use to now nominate their own selected students. Are you still following me? Just let me know if you're still following with me.
Yes, sir. We're still here.
So, like I was explaining, so you can leverage your Minister of Education, and you can apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship for Masters and PhD. So your Minister of Education can nominate you, or your host institution. For the host institution, the number of applicants that they can nominate is limited. Only one for an institution. I don't know if it has changed, but it's one of those things we're going to check at some point. Then we have the Chevening scholarships, also United Kingdom. This one is big on work experience. So if you're here after your undergraduate degree, you are not or maybe you are not immediately interested in winning any scholarship, you can, get some work experience, and then now use your work experience, because they always look for, work experience that is related to the program that you're applying to. So always be intentional about it. So if you are looking forward to maybe 70 scholarships, make sure that you are seeking work experience in the area of master's program that you're interested in. So watch out for that. All right. So the next one is that scholarship. This works in Germany. This is heavy on distinction. So your undergraduate CGPA must be very strong. I'm going to show you some of the different programs for the DAT scholarship. Then we have the Erasmus Mundus. This is one of the biggest scholarship in Europe. You know why it's big? Do you know why I said that? Because the funding is very nice. They will pay for your airfare, they will pay for your tuition, they will pay for your living expenses. And not only that, you have opportunities of getting your degrees from at least 3 institutions in Europe. So, for example, I think I remember someone who even had, his degrees from 4 different institutions. Sometimes it might not be the 4 institutions are going to give you a degree. Some might just be maybe 2 institutions, but you're going to have opportunity of studying in 4 different places, more than 2 places that I know of. So it might require that you move from maybe France to Czech to Switzerland, whatever the program requires. So the Erasmus Mundus is always attached to a particular program. So you might see something like a master's in water engineering, master's in chemical synthesis, whatever it is, and they will now look for partner institutions that have expertise in those areas, and those are going to be the partner institutions that are going to fund you. So Erasmus is one of the best scholarships in Europe. Then we have the Swiss Government Excellence Scholarship in Switzerland. This is big for people who are looking for PhD research. They also fund in arts scholarships. So if your program is in arts, then you can leverage the Swiss Government Excellence Scholarship. Then we have the FL Excellence Scholarship Program, and this is obtainable in France. Then still in Europe, Italian government scholarships, Italy, the Swedish Institute. This is similar to the Chevening scholarship. This one is not big on CGPA, whether you finish poorly in terms of grade. I'm not saying you should finish poorly, yeah, but they are not big on grades. They are big on work experience. So you have work experience, because this is actually for professionals. So look out for the Swedish Institute scholarship. And if you need guide on this, I know 2 people who won these scholarships, and please reach out to me. Then there's the Stipendium of Hungaricum scholarship program, which is obtainable in Hungary. Then we have the Irish government postgraduate scholarship in Ireland. I purposely leave some of these scholarships out because some of them are only for PhD. So these ones have elements of master's research and also PhD in some context. All right, so what are the scholarship opportunities in Asia? We have the Japanese government scholarship, one of the biggest scholarship in Asia. We have the Chinese government scholarship. We have the Singapore International Graduate Award, called SINGA in Singapore. We have the Korean government scholarship program in South Korea. Then we have the Hong Kong. This one is for PhD. So if you're looking for PhD, I don't know if Hong Kong allows straight bachelor's to PhD. So it's some of those things you should check out. Not all programs, not all programs we what was how do I put it now? Not all programs will admit you or give you any scholarship with a straight bachelor's to PhD. So watch out for that. So when I was explaining the Commonwealth Scholarship the other time, I think I missed out some points that I wanted to mention. But we're going to open the Commonwealth Scholarship at some point, and I'm going to expand a bit on the Commonwealth Scholarship. Then some scholarship opportunities in Australia. For most scholarships in Australia, they are university based. Most scholarships in Australia, they are university based. So go to the university that you're interested in. What's it called? There's this particular scholarship, University of Adelaide. Sorry, I said Adelaide. We used to call it that. University of Adelaide. We have Deakin University. We have University of Melbourne. Some of these universities have their own dedicated presidential scholarships. So watch out for those. But there are some other scholarships funded by the government, like the Australia Award Scholarship, the Australian Government Research Training Program. These are for research programs. So if you're not interested in research, you can apply to this scholarship. Then some scholarship opportunities in South America, they are limited in South America. I didn't really see a lot, but most of the scholarships you're going to see are more of university-specific scholarships. So go to their universities and look for their funding mechanism. Then there's this one called the Brazilian Government Scholarship Program, which is funded by the government. All right, so what are some of the scholarship opportunities in US and Canada? We have the Fulbright Foreign Student Program. This is one of the biggest ones that people utilize to come from Africa, and study in the United States. And we have the AAUW International Fellowship. This is for women. So males are not eligible. So this is specifically designed for women. And we have the MasterCard Foundational Scholars Program also for Canada. This is big. Then we have the Rotary Peace Fellowships. So this one, if you belong to a Rotary, you might not be able to win it. So it is for those who are interested in understanding everything about Rotary and every other thing like that. So Rotary Peace Fellowship, watch out for that. You can even search this particular scholarship. I think people are sleeping on it, but they have a lot of opportunities for people. Then for most scholarships in the United States, they are also university-based scholarships. And they come in form of assistantships that I put here. My PhD funding is based on assistantship. So let me explain how this works. I got a university, they call it university graduate admission that came with a scholarship. So they call it the UGS, University Graduate Scholarship. So that was the one that took care of my tuition. Then I was now placed on an assistantship. That was the one that now took care of my living expenses. So make sure that when you're looking out for universities in the United States, check out for some of these things. Because it's important you know the funding breadth so that you don't get there and you just find out that it's only 100% tuition that you now have to also for other living expenses, which might not be easy. All right. So I'm going to show you some live example of how to ascertain funding breadth. So how do we ascertain funding breadth? So for example, I'm going to use this Commonwealth Scholarship as a very good example. Please, if you have any question at this point, let me know. If you have any question at this point, let me know.
Does anyone have questions for Doctor?
If you have any question at this point, before I proceed, let me know. All right, so let me just go ahead and show us a live demonstration of how to understand the funding breadth. How much funding is available. How much funding is available. All right, so I'm going to share my screen right now. Please, at any point in time, if you can see my screen, let me know. So this is the Commonwealth Scholarship. So I'm going to go to the British Council. So like I explained a lot of time, they have about 4 different mechanisms, 4 different schemes, and they're going to tell you who can apply. So it's even more than 4 actually. So we have the Commonwealth PhD scholarship. We have the Commonwealth split site. So split site means that you do maybe 6 months in the United Kingdom. You will have started your program in your own country, but we now go for 6 months research training in the United Kingdom. Then this is the one I was mentioning about, talking about the other time. Before I go ahead, look at what I was saying about some of these scholarships have their own teams. So your program must be in line with this. Science and technology for development, strengthening health systems, promoting global prosperity. Then they will now tell you, this is what I was talking about funding breadth. They will now tell you what the program funds, what financial support is available. So most colleges are fully funded, which means that as well as covering your tuition fee, you also receive your airfare to and from the UK and a living allowance to support yourself. Does that make sense? All right. Then let me now go to the master's one that I was talking about. So if you open the master's one, Commonwealth Masters, so they will tell you the eligibility criteria. I'm going to talk about that one at some point, but okay, maybe I can do both at the same time. So for example, they will tell you the applicant's eligibility. So look at what they said here. You must be a citizen or have been granted refugee status by an eligible Commonwealth country. So if you don't belong to a Commonwealth country, or you are not, if you are not a citizen of a Commonwealth country, or you are not a refugee in a Commonwealth scholarship, you cannot apply for this scholarship. Then you must be permanently resident in an eligible Commonwealth country. For example, if you are in the UK, you cannot apply for this scholarship at that particular point in time. You must be resident in an eligible Commonwealth country. They're going to tell you some of the country. You must be able to start your academic studies in the UK by, this was for last year application cycle. And look at the degree that the academic credentials that they need. You must hold the first degree or at least upper second class or a lower second class degree with a master's. Are we following? All right. So that is the applicant. They will now give you eligible countries. Look at it. They will now list out the number of eligible countries. The good thing is Uganda is there, so we are fine. So Uganda can apply for this. They will now tell you how do they do the selection process and criteria. So look at it. They look at academic merit. They look at the quality of your research proposal, and they look at the potential impact on the development of the candidate's own country. Then they will now tell you the financial assistance that it covers. Look at what I'm saying the other time. Approved airfare. Then they will tell you the amount that they're going to pay. Stipend at the rate of £1,000, over £1,000. So, but 1,006 for those whose universities in the London metropolitan area. Then look at some other things that they will give you: warm clothing allowance, study travel grant. So if the scholar has a children or is widowed, divorced, or a single parent, child allowance. You can see what I'm talking about. Then how do you select them? Let me go to the selection process. How do they select? So that is in a choosing the university. So they will tell you the university that are partner institutions. You can't just apply to any university. They have some partner institutions, and you have to go through some of these links to know the universities that you need to apply to. Any question at this point before I move to the next one? Then they're going to tell you supporting documentations. So a copy of your valid passport. Remember what I said about passports? A copy of your valid passport, your full transcripts, references from at least 2 individuals. All right. So there's this particular one, selection process and how they do the. I'm going to download that one, and we're going to talk about. But before then there's another one that I didn't tell us about, and this is what's the name of this scholarship? It is Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Remember when I was talking about the Commonwealth normal, the default Commonwealth scholarship for master's program that requires nomination by your university back home or your Ministry of Education. This one does not require nomination. So the good thing about the Commonwealth Share Scholarship here, like I told you, the British Council have different funding mechanism. They have, you can see over here, I can go back, you can see the different fellowships that they have. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And some of them are for masters. So then there's this Commonwealth Share Scholarship. This is only for masters. This one, instead of being nominated by your institution, you need nomination from the host institution in the United Kingdom. So you need nomination from your own institution in the United Kingdom. So this one does not require anything with your Ministry of Education back home or your university back home. You only need nomination from the institution in the United Kingdom. So what are the supporting documentation? Similar to what we saw the other time, a copy of your valid passport, your full transcript. All right. Then this one you have to apply for admission as well. The other one too, you have to apply for admission. And the eligible countries, Uganda is also there, completing the application form. So they're going to give you, see, look, remember I said something about publication. So some scholarship might require that you list this publication that you have to see. List all the undergraduate and postgraduate university qualification obtained. List up to 10 publication and prizes. You have to provide detail of your employment history. Then you have to provide the development impact statement in 4 parts. You have to list names and positions of 3 referees who can comment on the benefit that this proposed scholarship is going to give to your home country. Then if you go to applicant eligibility, like I said, similar to what we saw with the other scholarship the other time, you must be a citizen of the eligible Commonwealth scholarship, eligible Commonwealth country. I mean, you must have your first degree, or the first degree of at least upper second class, or if you have a lower second class, you must buffer it with a master's degree. Then you must not have studied or worked for more than 1 academic year or more in a high-income country. You must be unable to afford to study in the UK without this scholarship. All right. So then there's selection process, similar to what we saw the other time. Financial assistance, similar to what we saw the other time. All right. I don't know if you have any other question before I move ahead, but those are the kind of ways to know the funding budget. One I want to show us is the Erasmus Mundus one. This one comes in terms of different projects being advertised. We have the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, where you have 2 masters, and we have the normal Erasmus Mundus, just 1 master's program. But let me start with the Erasmus Mundus Plus. So they're going to tell you the kind of program you want to apply for. So look at what they cover. So they cover what? Your travel. I didn't mention this visa. Not all scholarships cover your visa. There are visa fees. So for example, if you're applying for visa, you have to pay for visa fees. For example, I don't know any scholarship in the United States that covers for your visa. You still have to pay your visa. So, but look at this one. Erasmus Mundus actually covers your visa, and they cover your living allowance. Then the master's program is in 1 or 2 academic years. So you can have a joint degree, a 1 single degree certificate issued on behalf of at least 2 higher education institutions, or multiple degrees. And this is when you have to apply between October and January for each year. So what do you need? You must have a bachelor's degree or be in your last year of bachelor's study. You must graduate before the master's program starts. Then what are the programs that are available? And that's where I'm going to. So 1 second. right. So you can search. You click on search the course catalog, and you're going to show you some of the programs available. So these are the kind of the programs available. Can you see? So we have Joint Masters of Arts in Sound Design for Media Arts. We have the EMGM. This is a joint master's program in environmental contamination and toxicology. So they always have their own specified programs. Then we have this one called European Master in Public Health. We have European Master in Linguistic Data Science. And when you click on each, for example, if I click on this, it's going to tell me which institution in Europe, that these programs, that this program is obtainable. So for example, if I open this, it's going to tell you where you're going to get your program. I don't know why this one is not opening very well. So I think maybe because it's not active currently. So we're going to tell you that it is among 3 European universities and the associate partners. So let me look for another one, because sometimes, so for example, if I open this one, this is a master's course in mechatronics. So this is the course program. So you're gonna take it in 2 consecutive academic years. The degree awarding institution will be offering the same academic content, and sometimes they mention the particular institution. Can you see all the institutions here? This is Spain, University of Oviedo. This is Germany. This is France, and this is Sweden. So they're going to tell you where you're going to get each of those programs. So for this particular institution in Spain, the specialization is system analysis, mechatronics. For this particular one, it is microtechnology, energy efficiency. So you're going to get all these experiences across these different institutions. So I think I don't want to talk too much so that I don't bore us with words. So at this point, if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
All right, everyone. This is a very good time for you to chime in if you do have any questions for Doctor. He's shown you, different sites. This is one of the reasons why I want people to come in, real time, so that you can ask questions. So I'm going to open up the floor for anyone who has questions.
So someone is asking that
don't...
I wanted to know more about assistantships. Sorry, Dr.
Okay.
Odebo.
Hey, go
So,
ahead.
all right. So how this works is that there are 2 funding mechanisms for assistantships. We have the teaching assistantship, and we have the research assistantship. So, for example, for some big departments in the institution that serves a lot of programs, or when I mean, so for example, the Department of Biology, where I currently work, the general biology program serves a lot of different programs. They serve the Department of Biology themselves. They serve pre-med programs. They serve nursing. They serve a lot of people. So at that point in time, they need a lot of graduate students to help do teaching assistants. So once you are given admission, so one of the things that they do is that they will now put you in teaching assistantship, and that's where you get your stipend from. So you are now required to be teaching a lab course. So across different US institutions, the mechanism of how this works differs. But for research assistantship, that means your funding is coming directly from the grant won by your advisor. So your advisor puts you on, they call it hourly, and your advisor is the one that pays your stipends. I don't know if that explained that to you, Nisima. Nisima, was I able to answer your question? All right, Dr. Odwebo, you can go ahead.
All right. I can see Ian is trying to join back in. I guess maybe he was logged out or something. All right. Anybody has questions, just put it in the chat, or if you want to unmute your mic, this is a good time for that also as well. It's been a very, very okay. Is someone speaking there? This has been a very, very rewarding time. Like I mentioned to you guys, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, I didn't have to go through a lot of all these processes. So I mean, it's good to have somebody who understands the in and outs of the scholarship explanation. All right, Ian just replied saying, "Well explained, sir." All right, if nobody has questions, I'm going to put this or call this meeting to a close. I want to encourage you one more time. I understand. I mean, the semester is ended now. People have made their presentations, and many people are going home. So if you can do a very huge favor to them, all right, by letting them know. I mean, we still have 5 more weeks to go. All right, so try to invite people, let them know. Like I said, put it on your calendar. All right. The issue is if you don't have it on your calendar, then we have to be reminding you every week about the meeting. All right. But you go ahead, set it on your calendar, so that way, I mean, you would be the ones even asking us, all right, when is this going to happen and things like that. All right. I'm hugely tempted not to put up this video because I mean this video has the meat about scholarships. I'm hugely tempted not to put it on the group so that people can come around. So maybe what I will do is this: if we don't have a good, I will keep this till next week, and then if I don't have a good turnaround, I mean, or if you don't have a good showing, then I'm not going to put up the video. I'll keep it somewhere that only I and myself know where it can be found. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. We appreciate the time that you've given. I don't know if many of you notice it's at work because it's 10 a.m. All right, over there in the US. So I mean, so that is giving up valuable time. And one of the things I told you guys, I'm a consultant. All right, so I bill per hour. All right, even when I'm putting up my time card for the week, I put it per hour. So I mean, I've worked this hour, so he has given you 1 hour of his time. And I mean, if you're in the US, you know how to quantify that. You know how much 1 hour is worth. Not to talk about all the knowledge, the resources, the pointers that he has given. All right. So thank you so much, Doctor. We appreciate you. Appreciate you once again. Um, if you have not gone on his Twitter page, please make sure you do so. All right. I don't know if Doctor wants to put that up again. Let me add it here. Uh, and then there's another Twitter page for the scholarship. I'm trying to locate it. Okay, you know what? I think the best thing is, I think it's on our WhatsApp group. All right. So if you have not been a part of the WhatsApp group, go ahead and join in. All right. We put up as much information as we can get. I'm always putting up information there for you guys. Anyway, so please make sure you join the WhatsApp group. If you don't know how, reach out to myself or to one of the other facilitators, and they're going to help you with that. Thank you so much for coming out today. We're going to meet again this same time next week, God willing. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye.